We've been blessed with some amazing weather over the past few weeks and the start of January, so we managed to sneak away for a couple of days from work and head out on the Hauraki Gulf. We've got a few of our mates with us today, 6 of us in total, and we're heading out of Omaha towards Little Barrier Island. Conditions are absolutely perfect. There's no wind, flat calm seas, so there's plenty of options for us. We've got our Wettie float boats, both big and small, just to keep the fish away from the known sharks in the area. Straight in the water, we've got nice clear water on the surface. I think it's going to be a little bit dirty down the bottom as I can't see the bottom. I'm on my first dive just to check out what the bottom's like. Especially on your first dive, you want to take your time to get to the bottom. Search all around you when you're getting down there because you never know where the fish might be, especially in this sort of broken ground like this. I want to see where all the fish are hanging. So I'm just taking my time, not fully committing to get to the bottom and facing a certain way. You can see there's a few pori down there, and soon enough I spot a teriki sitting amongst them. Now here I can either go straight to the bottom or I can glide towards it. I'm going to glide towards it because sometimes fish can sort of dart off and you don't see them again. A nice shot, and I've got a fish already on the very first dive. When looking for teriki, it's sort of in the upper North Island. Often when you see schools of pori or pori together, have a real good look amongst them, as our teriki hang around amongst the pori, as there's a lot more pori around than there are teriki. I head further up current as I want to try and get to the optimum point of this sort of weedy broken ground. That's often where the bait and all the school fish are going to hang out, and in turn a lot of the fish that we're looking for. You can see all this broken ground here, and same again, I don't want to just race to the bottom and lie down on the bottom, as I might miss fish on the way down, especially things like boarfish. They prefer it when you approach them from above. If you approach them from the side, they tend to get a little bit more spooky. And here's a nice pair of boarfish. A female boarfish closest to me, and the male is a little bit bigger, so I'm going for that one. I take a quick shot before it spooks, and the fight's on. I'm using my 100cm Viper carbon gun with the snapper reel on it, and I'm just letting it peel a little bit of line off, but I am applying a little bit of pressure just as I want to keep it off the bottom. Boarfish actually fight quite hard, as they're a decent sized fish. Letting that reel line allows me to get to the surface while still having a little bit of oxygen left. If you're with your buddy and you shoot a boarfish like this, especially when there's multiple of them around, let your buddy know right on the surface, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm telling my buddy that there was another boarfish and point him in the direction that they've swum. Often boarfish will take off, but they might stop. So follow that direction that they take off in, as you might even find them further down the weed edge where they might park up again. As I mentioned, this is a male boarfish, and you can tell by the beautiful yellow spots and all the markings on the side there. The female are a lot more dark. My dive buddy's in the action. She's got a nice trevally which will add some sashimi to our catch for the day. This time I'm going to make my way all the way to the bottom. We've done a few dives and we've shot a few fish. I'm just going to get to the bottom and just see what might pop out of the kelp. Because although we used that technique earlier of sort of gliding down and seeing if we can find a fish on the way down, so we don't even need to lie in the bottom. Now we also want to lie in the bottom just to see if a few more fish show up. You'll be always surprised when you lie in the bottom what fish might appear that you might not see diving halfway down. On inspection on the bottom, there's blue maumau, lots of sweep, demoiselles, goatfish. It's a really nice fishy area. The only problem in these sort of situations is it's sometimes hard to see through all the fish. So teriki, John Dory and other bits and pieces can go missed. I'm not going to spend too much time down here as nothing's really catching my attention. But don't give up. If you're on a spot like this, it pays to do multiple dives. Even though I haven't seen anything I want to shoot on that dive, I'm still going to do more dives as fish will pass through this area. You'll get pelagic fish as well as boarfish, John Dory and teriki will all of a sudden show up. As shown here, I'm back down on another dive. Slowly gliding down, just in case I see something on the way down. In this dirty water I couldn't see from the surface, you don't know what might be down there, and straight away I spot this teriki. Although hard to see, they move a little bit different to pori, and as soon as you see that black stripe on the back of the head, it's easy to identify. These shots here where you shoot through the fish and they're close to the bottom, often it pays, if you've got some oxygen left, go down, grab the under end of the tip of the spear. As sometimes you might hit a rock under the sand there, or the flopper might get jammed, and you start swimming up and the spear comes straight out. So just to make sure I secure the fish and I've got plenty of oxygen left, I go pick the fish up and swim up with it. They're always a nice additive to our catch up north, as we don't tend to see a huge amount of them. The perfect setup for shooting these smaller fish, just using a 100cm gun in carbon fibre, light, manoeuvrable. You see we've got a couple of teriki, a boarfish and a trevally already, and it's only the morning. I've got a spare weight in my float boat there for when I go in shallow too, so I can add weight to my weight belt. Soon enough, some kingies come in, and Sophie's back in the action. She takes her time to pick which fish she wants to go for, not making too radical movements and moving slowly, slowly tracking the fish, and places a perfect shot, stoning this fish. A good sized kingfish at probably around about 17 kilos. This is an ideal situation, as stoning your fish, you're less likely to have bronze whalers come and give you issues, as well as it keeps the meat good. Not to mention you don't have to worry about gear getting damaged. Once the kingies started coming in, they really did come in. There was a lovely big school of kingfish here that surprised me on my dive. You never get sick of seeing this stuff. Even though Sophie's already got us one that'll feed our whole family, it's just always nice to see these big schools of nice sized kingfish. When you get in these sort of situations and you see a good school of them, it does pay to try and get down to their level. You see how they become very inquisitive and very friendly. It makes it easier to select which fish you want and put a good shot. Simply diving at them and racing after them will often end up resulting in a very difficult shot, as the fish will be spooked. In this case, you see they're very easy. They're just going to circle around me until they lose interest, and I have plenty of kingfish here to choose from if I wanted to shoot one. But in this situation, I'm just more than happy to look at them. We're so lucky in New Zealand with the amount of kingfish that we have, and we sort of take it for granted. When you travel around the world, you don't tend to see amazing sights like this. Back on the boat, and we've only been in the water for a couple of hours, and we've got more than enough fish for all 6 of us. Couple of boarfish, couple of terehee, even a John Dory that was hiding underneath the boat, and 2 kingfish. I was up at Omaha for a couple of days though, so I was still keen to get out for a quick dive the next day. So we raced back out as there was plenty of fish the day before, and I just wanted to see what else we might find. Same again, a lovely school of kingfish here, a lot of current and dirty water. Although this can be spooky sometimes diving this dirty water, it does make for exciting diving as you're not sure what you're going to see. Same as I mentioned with the kingfish before, get down to the bottom or at least get to their level and they'll become a lot more friendly. There's a lot going on here, and also in this dirty water fish will pass by. With all this current running, you'll get fish running by. And sure enough, here's a beautiful sight, another pair of boarfish. First up a female and then a male swimming after her. I couldn't help myself but place a nice shot. It's always exciting seeing boarfish in the water, as they're another decent sized fish that we only tend to see normally in summertime. They're not always deep either. You can often find them in nice shallow water. Just always look where the weed meets the sand, as that's often where you'll find boarfish. Anywhere from sort of October through to about April, you tend to get them coming into the shallows and feeding on worms in the sand and spawning. It's funny how a lot of the time in wintertime we don't see that many of them. They must go live out on the sand in big schools or by themselves. It's always nice as they have beautiful white flesh and make very, very good eating.
That was cool, man.
My comment pretty much sums up the weekend. It's been a fantastic couple of dives. Didn't even need to spend too much time in the water as we managed to find a lot of great fish.